Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. Happy Holi. Enjoy your Pagua celebrations tomorrow across Trinidad and Tobago. Blessings. Happy birthday to one of the #1 douglAR Politics supporters, Miss Roz Johan. Happy birthday, my lady. May God bless you with great health and may you see many more to come. Bacchanal, Trinidad and Tobago could never be a real place. Leaking vessel off Clifton Hill. It was a group of retirees who spotted a leaking offshore supply vessel in the waters of Clifton Hill, Point 14 earlier this week. The authorities have been alerted. Over 7,000 barrels of oil have already been removed from the cleanup. The devastation to the economy and to the sea and to the fish, it just goes unabated with the incompetence of the PNM. Archie, I ain't know if you have it, but I see Rowley recover from COVID and he's playing golf. The first thing Rowley does as our country is shattered and devastated is go and play golf. But let me tell you all something. You know, when somebody love a sport, you know, you have your partner, one of your partners who you're sweating with for years. He love football. He love football. He always there. He had the best boots. He always have a new ball. And he can't play. He can't play the game at all because he love the game, but the game don't love he. This is Rowley. Look at this man. This golf is his life. He spends more time on the golf course than in cabinet trying to bring policies. There has been no Senate or no Parliament for the last 10 days because his government has no legislative agenda. Yes, lift it up a bit so I could see the full body, Archie. I want to show you. Understand that a man who loves this sport is a technical sport. This is a picture illustrating a total goat, a man who cannot play golf. Your swing after so many hours on a golf course, after playing the game for 35 years, if you suck so bad, you should give up the sport. Look at his feet. First and foremost, both feet, both toes coming off the same time. Look at the knee bend, absolutely none. It looked like he had 2 knee replacement. His body is totally out of line. His hips are not in any form or fashion in the direction to propel from the balls of his feet through his knees, into his quads, into his hamstring, lower back to give an efficient, consistent swing. His arms look like he saw it fighting. They're wobbling. His right arm, his elbow is bent before in the front where it should be locked and straight in order to give a consistent swing. This is why he has to kick his ball in a oh my goodness, Archie, that's why I love you. Do you see? Look at the knee bend, the drive. Look at the flexion at the top of the swing. Look at the straight arms coming down. Look at him leading with the hips and following through the alignment of the club with the lead leg. When he drives through, look at the power and the rotation from the hips into the shoulders, into the arms, and the head stays still and down. Look at the follow through and the rotation onto the tip of the right toe, the full posture, the straight move, and then the head rotates. That's how you play the game. Look at this. When a man sucks so bad and tries so hard, you know he ain't good. Move that total goat now, man. Boy, I could never try so hard in something and be so bad at it. Rowley, you just incompetent all wrong, boy. And all them men on the golf course. One thing I tell you about golf club and golf players, they're very elitist, but they like to chitter-chatter and battle. You know how many men, when he's swinging and swinging and swinging and that ball going all over the place, into the drain, into the dregs, into hole, into bunker, into sand, into tree by iguana, the men he played with or other men on the course go be good, but this man really bad. This man can't play. That's what golfers do. Rowley a big club. You are the laughing stock of the golfing world, but you love golf. Golf is a great game. You going to talk to children. Children, don't play golf like he. You will lose every time. Only 6 attend RIC public consultation. RIC really and truly in Port of Spain, well, Port of Spain is PNM. Only 6 people attend the consultation because people have realized, RIC, that you're a puppet of the PNM. You said that the rate increases, the new rates will come in April, and TNTech will have 2 weeks to institute those rates. So what we consulting for? Just like all the citizens who told you, 99.9999% recurring told you, no, do not increase. We cannot take it. We're under pressure. You did the wrong thing. You took a survey from when Kamala was Prime Minister to tell us we could afford something when Rowley is Prime Minister, when the entire country, the economy is shattered. They told you no, but you're all still going ahead. Because great is the PNM and independent institutions don't exist. Ingrid Lashley says energy sector powered by NEL's 2 billion turnaround. You all may not know that name, Ingrid Lashley. I know that name because for years Kamala Prasad Bisesa was trying to get Vasant Bharat as the Minister of Trade and Industry, who was in charge of some of them mortgage finance companies, TTMA or Trinidad and Tobago mortgage finance, whatever one underneath there. Kamala wanted people to be able to purchase houses cheaper. So Kamala made him bring a note to give first-time homeowners a 2% mortgage. Because normally first-time when you're going them normal bank, 9, 10, 11% and so on. And this woman, Ingrid Lashley, this PNM sycophant, was the CEO then. And she refused to do what cabinet instructed. And Vasant Bharat did not have the wherewithal, the strength, the managerial ability, the competence to make her do what policy guidelines were given from the cabinet and the government through the Minister of Trade and Industry for 4.5 years, 5 years. And then when Rowley win, all of a sudden she come and say, hey, 2% loads. She is Rowley neighbor in Inez Gate in Tobago. She is on 8 or 9 different PNM boards. This is why your country is in a mess. Because PNM infiltrates all the institutions. And once you're a PNM first, country after. That's Ingrid Lashley, Rowley neighbor. But TNT has a foreign exchange shortage, not a crisis. I'm going to leave that right there. So all of you who cannot get US, all of you who go to the bank and they tell you only gain $50 today. A lady who needed $1,500 and told me that she only gained $50 and she wanted to pay some $25,000. I said, lady, no, don't let people take advantage of you like that. If the bank only giving you $50, unfortunately, ma'am, and you need $1,500, go to the bank for 30 days straight and take out your $50. But Imbat said, that's not a crisis. There's a shortage because Imbat and them could get a US. Imbat financiers could get a US. Rowley's businessmen who is go and check cake, plate in price, man, them could get a US. It's a crisis for you, not for the PNM, correct? But who put the PNM there? Just telling you. Check yourself. Accident survivor calls for cable barriers to be replaced on South Highway. Whether it was Jack Warner, Suraj Rambachan, Minister George, Works and Transport, the health and safety of the population, the barriers on that South Highway were put there, placed there, and they were maintained. Any accident, go and replace, tighten. Since the PNM has come in for 8 years, you drive on that South Highway, nearly every piece of barrier has gone. And someone just this morning, as I was on my way to National Swim Coach to practice in the Couva Aquatic Center built by Kamala Prasad Bisesa, there was an accident at Freeport and a pickup truck crossed the median because PNM had no barriers and killed 2 people on the other side who were just driving home calmly. That's PNM. That's the love they have for you. Will they come to the funerals and say sorry that we could not and did not care to invest in things to keep you safe because we needed Noel Garcia to build every building, to build a $150 million administrative complex for health around the Savannah by Holy Name? That we needed Rowley to have an $18 million home in Tobago for the Prime Minister to go and play golf and get COVID and say, "Que pasa, papi?" Is Rowley going to attend those funerals of those people who died because of their lack of care, investment, and ability to manage. Not everything is a funny joke. Webster Roy reaffirms commitment to digital sustainability and protection for women. Webster Roy, I won't even read what you say. Because if you cannot protect children, you cannot protect anyone. Webster Roy, you and Keith Rowley received the Judith Jones report since December 13, 2021, and nothing has been done to protect children. So please forgive me, Madam Minister Webster Roy, if I really don't care what you have to say. Because any mother especially who carry children within her and have life growing within her and come out and you produce life, which a man cannot do, and yet you did not instantaneously make moves with police, security companies, army, children's authority, ensure they outfitted, put in CCTV cameras, change out the managers, fire people, make sure there was action, pump resources there to protect children, then I really cannot listen to you, because your balisé juice and your job is more important than children. At what point do you say that PNM or supporting the poor policy and the poor investment of the PNM is not worth it? Children being raped and buggered, beaten and battered, abused, that make you say, well, boy, this PNM is nonsense. Well, then I put it to you that you are stuck in the PNM evil for life. So try not to make any statements. Nobody cares. If you cannot protect children, you are useless as a human being. TTPS, Certificate of Character system still down, but the DCP, employers can contact cops for background checks. Really? Really, TTPS? Before you say that the system has been down, the TTPS is under-resourced because we have a Minister of National Security who cannot stay awake. He cannot fight for resources. We are not being resourced. We don't have station diary. People have to write report on napkin. We have no toilet paper. Why you don't talk the truth? Because it's PNM. This PNM cult thing needs to stop. The country is suffering. How can people contact, which policeman to contact to say, hey, I'm looking to hire William Archie. He's a good boy. Yeah, man, I know William Archie, boy. And they'll just call his name on douglAR politics. That's how you get a certificate of good character. No search, no check, no traffic record, no parking record, no loan record, no computer check, no Interpol, nothing. Just call a police. Yeah, boy. What you think about Valmiki, boy? Yeah, boy, that man stellar, boy. That man stellar. That is a horse. That is what you telling people in this country under this sleepy, nappy, narcolepsy, sativa, Heinz? Rejecting mediocrity. Imagine I just went through a whole introduction showing you the mediocrity in the PNM. And I have a column from Leela Ramdeen, consultant CCSJ and director of credit, rejecting mediocrity. We live in an ever-changing, fast-paced world. There was a time not so long ago when families praying together was a common occurrence. Recently, I was working on my computer with the TV on in the background. The host of Family Feud said to a contestant, we asked 100 people, what is the one thing that parents should do more of with their children? The contestant responded, pray. With all that's going on in TNT, we certainly need prayer and action. During Lent, Christians are called to practices of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. Pope Francis. Through such actions, we are invited to be true to ourselves, right? And she goes on to say that we must put the themes and outcomes are laudable, but much work needs to be done if we are to demonstrate that we are putting people first, nurturing our greatest asset, delivering good governance and service excellence, improving productivity through quality infrastructure and transportation, building globally competitive business, placing the environment at the center. PNM, fail, because the PNM does not believe in meritocracy. They don't believe in merit. They don't believe in a merit list. They don't believe that the Minister of Health should have been qualified and should have come up to the highest levels in his or her profession in order to lead it. They don't believe that an Attorney General needs to be honest. They could lie on an affidavit. They could lose file. They could forget to file statements. They could waste $64 million of taxpayer money. They could sell 2 Porsche and declare 1. They could lose 31 cases. They choose someone who nearly couldn't get out of law school in Farrell Rowley. The PNM does not believe in merit. They believe in the loyalty of the PNM cult. They are a lick-bamsy party, and they are turning our country into a lick-bamsy country. We need to stop it. We need to stop it. It is wrong. Everything Ms. Ramdeen said there, the PNM fail on. And if the PNM is leading our country, it means our country is failing. Father Gordon, what do you say about Ms. Ramdeen? She's a bad lady. Or she's not bad because she didn't say Trinidad is not a real place. But is Trinidad a real place, Father Gordon, when the PNM does not put people first? They do not even put children first. Children being abused and raped and burnt with cigarettes, and they just leave them there. They do not put the poor first. More people sleeping on the streets. They do not increase social development. They do not put education first. Everything suffering. Poor SEA results. Poor CSEC. Poor CAPE. Look at this. Nothing happening. So is Trinidad and Tobago a real place? Are things great? When we do not put our people first, our children first, investment in our best resource, which is our human beings. What about, let's say what Ms. Ramdeen also said, delivering good governance and service excellence. What about a government that guts procurement legislation and still does not even proclaim the gutted version because they like to thief? Only a thief will stop procurement legislation because procurement legislation stops thieving. So only a thief will not want the security on people's money. They want people money there so they could thief it. Is that a real place, Father Gordon? She says, improving productivity through quality infrastructure and transportation. Our infrastructure, our transportation network, our roads, our bridges is in the most dilapidated state in our history. Even Denise, they may not admit that, but then try to lump everybody in it, but that's not true. But there's a little bit of Balize juice still remaining in her. Building globally competitive business, 6,000 business shut down, energy sector shut down. We make a loss in NGC for the first time. Poor negotiation in Houston. The same people who cause us to lose money in negotiating going forward. Energy sector shut down. Point Lisa is operating at 28%, down from 76%. Crisis in foreign exchange, no petrotrain, no gas. We can't find nothing, no investment in blocks. We cannot motivate others to invest. Job losses across the board. Father Gordon, what to say? Yes, PNM, you go, man. That's great. I love to see my citizens suffer and more hungry people. A poverty rate increase from 16.7% to 31.8%. Yay, PNM, yay. Go, boys, suffer my people. Father Gordon. Prime Minister urges parents to help curb school violence. Take responsibility for your children. Well, brother, man, why you don't take first? I don't know where to start with that. You, Keith Christopher Rowley, you telling parents in Trinidad and Tobago to take responsibility for their children? You who impregnate Gartale's mother when she was of school age in 1969 and leave Gartale for 44 years drifting in the wind by himself. You who have twins in Victoria Keys where they now find 3,000 bullets, arms and ammunition. A man out on bail for murder in Victoria Keys where the twins live in, and a police car there from West End every night. They're not sure who they're protecting, but I know who. And tell me now it's not your twins now. Come out and tell me. If you want to tell me I not taking basket like how you say you have COVID. You have COVID 4 times with heart problem, throat problem, chest problem, brain problem, all kind of problem. You still alive? You want to show the country, analyze, show the DNA test, bring the twins, the fisherman twins. Yes, you understand? But you see, that's what you are. Because nobody cares that is your children. What I'm making the point of is that you are a miscreant. You are an absentee father. You are not a man. Because men in Trinidad and Tobago mind all their children, whether outside, inside, by the fireside, upside, downside, anywhere. You, however, put your sperm all over the place, all up inside, all kind of thing, and children drop out, and you just leave them alone, and you coming to tell other parents to take responsibility for the children. You who just give picture of only yours from inside, leaving out the tree outside. No, you are not. You are not even in a glass house. You in a cellophane wrap house telling parents how to parent. You are the worst. You are an absentee father. So slow your roll. Secondly, take responsibility. What have you taken responsibility for as Prime Minister? The roads bad, well, it's the COVID money we had to spend. COVID bad, everybody dead, well, boy, the variant was bad. The borders are safe, illegal immigrants, guns, cocaine coming in. Now, man, that the USA fault. The judiciary, no crime, judicial wheels of justice going slow. It's the judges, it's the DPP, it's the system. Not you, not your Attorney General, not the lack of resources. You take responsibility for nothing. All we children failing is not bundles fault, because bundles servicing you, but the children failing in Cape, CSEC, SCA, worst ever. But it's the parents' fault. Crime situation out of hand, somebody else's fault. It's schools fighting, is the parents' fault. The road bad, well boy, it's the truck fault. Rowan says heavy truck. Flooding, oh Lord, people building lagoon, not only didn't clean the drain and dredge the river mouths. Any problem in Trinidad and Tobago, you blame somebody else for. You have attorneys general sitting down there lying on affidavit and sit down there. You had a man convicted of driving drunk, could have killed people's children, a criminal offense, and leave him in the Senate for 2 years and bawling about Anil drink rum on Carnival Monday, Juve and so on, and I can't coach people's children. So why your Senator Lester Henry sit down there for 2 years? I didn't drive, I walk. I didn't kill Kitty and fall down like you in a panyard and vomit all over the place, and Special Branch had to go and throw away the clothes and things because you vomit on them, because your 3 ministers take you out. You didn't eat. Oh gosh, poor little baby. Poor little baby Rowley. You didn't know when you got the drink to eat, so you kill Kitty. You telling people to take responsibility, but you can't even take responsibility for your own actions. You can't even responsibly put on a prophylactic when you're horning. You just make your horn child. And you telling people take responsibility? Really? You are such a scumbucket. Imagine the fruit of your loins in an area where they get fancy HDC house and murderers and arms and ammunition police raid. I sure you didn't even check up on your children. Did you call them? Did you make sure they're all right? You keep them a secret rather than giving them the protection they deserve. Because whether we like you or not is irrelevant. They are children, pure and innocent. And if they are children of a prime minister, no matter what sort of idiotic father they have, they deserve the security that it befits their position. But not when you have a disgusting liar as a father who don't even want to claim them. Look at them. Go on the golf course. Sure you didn't check up on your picnic them. To fix human trafficking, fix border control first. Leave this fool here. Right? Let's read this. This is Garvin Hera, a security expert of 50 years experience in all forms and fashion. So the alarm bells went off, and there were a flurry of utterances in the media, on social media, and in the halls of parliament, and yes, on the bar stools, and about human trafficking. Today I'm keeping my hands in my pocket, difficult posture to adopt as a Trinbagonian, because the rumor states that we talk with our hands, but it's my safety net, so I won't be able to point fingers or join any blame game. I wish to give some facts in the beast called human trafficking. AC Homeland Security, human trafficking is involved in the use of force, fraud, or coercion of obtain some type of labor or commercial sex act. Right? What needs to be done includes that not limited to Foreign Affairs, CARICOM, Interpol, Immigration, Customs, TTPS, and the border must be sealed and protected in order to impact in any way. You know who's in charge of the border? This one. Why don't you take responsibility for the border? All of the human trafficking, the illegal migrants, the guns, the cocaine, anything to passes because you won't give the Coast Guard diesel. You won't make sure the radar is working. You won't give funding to the Air Guard to get new planes with new radars. They don't even have any pilots. You won't fund helicopters. You won't fund beach patrol and place army camps there to protect our borders. You leave it wide open, and then you're telling people to take responsibility for crime when you are allowing the guns to come in to go into the hands of impressionable young people who don't understand the meaning of life. So they squeeze a trigger. And you have the audacity to tell people take responsibility. The only thing you have taken responsibility for is to ensure that procurement legislation air pass so you could thief legally. So legalized thieving across your government goes on unchecked. You know what you took responsibility for? You make sure that your man of business, your brethren, Noel Garcia, a man who I see in Massey stores with one big bag, and I thought I saw Rowley on it, I thought so, but I didn't have my glasses yet. I didn't go to optometrist today yet, so I'm not sure, but I want big bag. You ensure Noel Garcia spending every living cent in this country, and the media and the so-called professionals and the Reginald Dumas of this world leave you. That's why the country is in a mess. Why will one man want one man to spend money across the board in every single project? This one, I don't know why he don't spend money to fix your face, but this man, Skinner Park, this man, Diego Martin Stadium, this man, Sports Stadium, Community Center, Fire Station, Police Station, every house in Trinidad and Tobago, all the Magnificent Seven, President's House, Red House, Rowley Prime Minister Residence in Tobago, every single thing, Health Center, Central Block, Hospital, Airport in Tobago, anything and everything, Manta Lodge, any money spent, Rowley put he to spend it. Why? All of you intelligent people, is that good corporate governance? Does that give many checks and balances to ensure that corruption is not rife, that the people get value for money? Is that the way to do it? That one man who has so much secret for the next man in charge of all your money and they could do what they want? Oh my God, no, them Indian thief. Yeah. Y'all believe anything this bag of liars tell all you. When in face of facts, facts in your face, like a doubles with extra pepper, and you listening to this liar? And all of you intelligent people, all of you accountants, finance people, MBAs, all of you out there, know it. You know that the only reason a man will put one man to spend all that money without procurement legislation is because they want to take. Give me another reason, and please tell me. Tell me another reason why legislation was there passed with a special majority by Kamala Prasad Bisesa to protect your money. And this man, through his first attorney general who nearly didn't pass law school, came to Parliament and the Senate to weaken it, to gut it, to take out teeth. And still, they have not even proclaimed that weaker legislation. They put a procurement regulator, they pay him a salary for 5 years. He had nothing to regulate because he ain't proclaimed nothing yet. But they rush and proclaim Section 42A and B of the data protection to make sure you have to pay property tax so they get more money to spend without procurement. And all you say somebody else thief? This clown spend more billion, at least $30 billion more than Kamla Persad-Bissessar in the same 5-year and 4-month period. And nothing works. Kamla give you school, MIC centers, NESC centers, aquatic center, cycling velodrome, tennis center, 89 grounds, roads, bridges, great infrastructure, give you a gate of 726 million across the board, hospital in Couva, all sorts of community center, sporting center, cultural center. You had carnival, you had Soca Monarch, you had jobs created. Kamla give you all of that for less money than he. And he just called people thief. US must do more in illegal arms fight. Really? Leave he there, no leave he there. A Guardian? Really? The US and whoever making guns from since they invent gun. Well, me I even remember when they invent gun and cannon. Sometime back in 800 BC or something. Me I even know. Them producing gun. You come to write an editorial because this clown say, we dying, we people dead in, black children killing each other day in, day out. 614 murders last year. In the first 2 months of this year, over 115 murders. And he come to blame Yankee. And Guardian, you give that drivel the respect of an editorial, and you want people to buy this toilet paper called it Guardian newspaper. Anybody could make what they want. But how it reach here? He have to make sure it can come in. He have to have scanners at the port. He have to have systems to ensure. He have to border patrol, create a security dome so that these things don't come in. You blaming people for making things? Making weapons? People have been making weapons since time immemorial. But you come to blame US with this fool. Hey Guardian, all you are is dotish as Rowley. That's why your sales gone down so low. That's why all you have no advertisement. Your paper tin. Like how Sagram Singh Suklal get, I want to applaud you, girl, whatever exercise program you are on, Honorable Minister in the Ministry of the Attorney General and Legal Affairs, as an Olympic coach, level 5 senior, and World Swimming Coaching Association, level 5 senior, highest level in the world, having studied the science, the physiology. I want to commend you on your amazing transformation through hard work in the gym, pumping. You are a great example to the rest of the country, Madam Minister. I mean, well done. Archie, stop laughing. Archie, why laughing? Prime Minister Keith Christopher Rowley. Leave Ede. Government paying millions in rent for the DPP office. Now the DPP is a serious office. And there's a serious gentleman there. And nobody could accuse him of being partisan and definitely not a UNC. I mean, sometimes I say, but that office kind of lean, but that, right. But nobody could ever accuse the DPP, Roger Gaspard, of being UNC. Not a bit of it. He's a professional and he wants to do his job. He's been complaining for years, for about 4 years, about the lack of investment, lack of resources being given by the government and the cabinet. He never states it because he don't want to get into politics. He just wants the resources to do the job. But the fact of the matter is, whoever is the government is in charge of getting, approving, and disbursing funds for these independent institutions to fill out the HR structure. The DPP has been saying that. I have been telling you all they're operating at 35% capacity in a case with runaway crime and criminality where the detection rate is 8 to 11%. And even those who get caught end up languishing in remand, whether innocent or guilty, without DNA, without cases, going up and down the road with $100 million a year buses and transport going up and down the bus route, going nowhere, to go make an appearance and come back and the case don't go. Some people go to court 27 times over 8 years and the case has start yet. All of this is in the responsibility of this man, and he telling parents to take responsibility for their children. So the DPP made a calm, apolitical, factual presentation for about the umpteenth time. Keith Christopher Rowley jump out himself and start to attack the man, attack the office, attack the independent office of the DPP, and start a ball. But they didn't ask, they wanted a building, so we get them a building. Hold on. They may need a building, but they didn't just need a building. The report way back in 2017 showed that they needed a building, they were understaffed, they needed lawyers, they needed quality, they needed funding for experts for difficult cases like fake oil case and them kind of thing. You need specific engineers to do that, sort of give them evidence to go in. You see, this one here could talk and lie what he want, but this gentleman has to go in court. In court, you have to provide something that this one never has to provide, never tries to provide, never understands nor cares, because he's a low character individual who lies and talks and repeats his lie over and over and then believes his lie, forgets his lie. He's a pathological liar. But this gentleman cannot move on this idiot's lies. This gentleman has to go before a judge who are both basically independent, and they have to present evidence in order for a judge or a jury to convict somebody and take away their freedom. So this man has a very serious job. He can't go on political talk and innuendo. This one who can't say nothing and call nobody name and pretending and don't know why they ain't do nothing, because there's something called evidence, Rowley. So Rowley now goes to attack this gentleman who is an independent office and talk about rental for a building. Well, Wayne Sturge dealt with that situation. And more experts came out to say that wherever, you see the cabinet rush, why? Rent, money, millions, salary, lawyers, HR, fill out, work, hard work, research, had no money. See? So the cabinet of recusals run the building. What millions? Hey, that we think. That's not the thing. The most important thing to impact the judicial system is the human resource. So this one now jump out himself and say, well, we have a building there, we paying for it and they're moving. Now, this man and his attorneys deal with the most heinous criminal offenses. They deal with people who have no conscience whatsoever, similar to him, but the only difference is that the people that he deals with, they use guns, knives, cutlass, puya to shoot and kill. They kill witnesses, they kill people who are involved in prosecution and so on. So security for his workforce is of the utmost importance. Already in the newspaper, security experts have said that this clown and his government did not provide the requisite security for the building for them to move in. So they have not moved into the building, not because of this man's fault, because of this jackass. But this jackass gets up on a platform and attacks this gentleman. Again, throwing cloud and gray because it's political supporters. They believe somebody introduced he as a good man. This as a good father. We come in there just now. His supporters who believe anything will now, he has just cast aspersions on the independence and the ability of this gentleman to do his job. But this gentleman said, I will respond to the Prime Minister in my time. Contacted yesterday for comment on the Prime Minister's statement. DPP Roger Gaspard said he had heard everything the Prime Minister said at the meeting, but would respond in my time. I will respond when I choose to do it. In my timing, he said. Asked where the building in question was located, he said it was on the corner of Park and Henry Street. On the corner of Park and Henry Street? All you don't even go into town now on Park and Henry Street to shop, to go and buy a little jersey and a pants. Sales, Doma, Gregory Aboud say place like a ghost town. People not even going in there. Why? because the criminal element is creeping and taking over there. You could be robbed, you could be mugged, you could be beaten. There are murders taking place right there on Brian Lara Promenade, lower down, and in town as normal. And this clown here want to put the lawyers who prosecute criminal gangs, criminals, murderers, rapists, right there, right there, right there. Right there where the bullet is fire, right there. You all really serious? Think about if your daughter is a lawyer or your son dealing with those serious matters. Would you feel good to rush down there? But why them went and signed? Why they went and rent building so fast? If you are renting or if you are purporting to rent or get a space for this man, shouldn't you ensure that this man agrees and likes the building and it gives all the requirements that he requires to keep his staff safe, secure, and do the job efficiently? Isn't this the most important person? But Faris Al-Rawi going to cut ribbon way back and say, yes, look, we have a building because he know about building, because his PNM cabinet rented Faris Al-Rawi building, the own attorney general. Staff shortage must be resolved. Senior attorneys say. The warning by Director of Public Prosecutions Roger Gaspard about the inevitable collapse of the criminal justice system, if the staff shortage is not addressed, must be immediately acted upon and resolved, according to 3 senior attorneys. The Express yesterday spoke to Pamela Elder SC, Israel Khan SC, and Keith Scotland, who all opined that a solution is required. The problem with Keith Scotland is he cooking in a coal pot, putting diesel or premium in a bicycle and riding down to Balisay House. And he's not in cabinet to offer any suggestions or any guidance to this loose mouth idiot here. So Keith Scotland, you see, boy, I don't know where you went, why you went, or how you went. So Elder said she has had experience where the absence of a prosecutor has impacted on matters, and she proffered that a think tank should be established to address the issues plaguing the DPP's office. I entirely agree with the DPP because it has been my experience that matters cannot go on because of the absence of prosecutors. For example, we may have a case managed, a matter with one prosecutor, and when we are close to trial, we appear in the court and we hear that the prosecutor has left the DPP's department and the file has to be reassigned. So the DPP's department really has to be strengthened, because you are strengthening one limb of the system. You are strengthening the judiciary and you are weakening the DPP's department. It just doesn't make sense. Khan said he was not alarmed, Israel Khan, by the DPP's comments, because he has been aware that the DPP is being starved for resources. He noted that in 2014, the former Kamla Persad-Bissessar government sanctioned the 129 lawyers required. So when you all say UNC, PNM, same, it's not true. He said the DPP, a year later, they were ousted from power, and then came the Keith Rowley-led PNM. He said since that time, the DPP's office continues to be depleted. Since PNM 2015 to now, 8 years. Rowley has done nothing and the problem has gotten worse. The shortage has been exacerbated, and he jumps up on a platform to talk about a flipping building and cast aspersions on a citizen who has a very hard work to do. This is what Rowley, how can you vote for this low character human being? Because he cannot take responsibility for anything that he's in charge of. Yet a prime minister is in charge of everything. He said since that time, the DPP's office continues to be depleted, and the criminal bar, which he heads, has spoken out about it. The criminal bar had indicted about a month ago that the criminal justice system will collapse Because if you have people being charged, people before the courts, you increase judges, and you don't have prosecutors, how can you proceed with those matters? So somebody is spinning top in mud. It is ridiculous, said Israel Khan. He said the judiciary was facilitated with a larger budget, more judges were appointed, and more courts, but not prosecutors. The DPP does not have a budget on its own. All other relevant organizations like the Public Complaints Authority, Legal Aid, etc., they have a budget. He does not. If he wants a pencil, he has to go to the government. Who is the government? This one. Let me just find what Keith Scotland say. Scotland said he was aware that the JLSC has been working to fill vacancies and he would like to see solutions to the DPP's concerns. He said the criminal justice system has several components and the constituents that include the judiciary, attorneys, DPP's office and the public. He said when any unit of that process is found wanting, it affects the entire system. Yes, Keith Scotland, your government is affecting the entire judicial system, bringing it to its knees, near to collapse. Your PNM government, led by your PNM Prime Minister, Keith Christopher Rowley. Sources say, DPP not at fault. Newsday, page 7. PM queries non-occupation, but sources say, DPP not at fault. The delay in occupying a new building intended for the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions is not the fault of DPP Roger Gaspard SC, but of the security systems that are required. Security sources told Newsday on Friday it was not Gaspard who asked for bulletproofing and security walls, and therefore the delay in moving into the new building on Park Street, Port of Spain, was not on his account. Do you all understand? Gaspard can't outfit a building. The government, the cabinet, this one is in charge. So if the building is not suit or fit for purpose, they cannot put their lives at risk to go in there. Just like a police station needs certain requirements, a bank building needs certain requirements, a DPP's office requires extreme security. This one is in charge of the money, the tender. He could give his Noel Garcia to do it, but he didn't do that because it have other money elsewhere, faster, easier. And if you improve the DPP office, then Camille Cash case, Rowley, Inez Gate case, two Porsche, the missing Porsche case, Foster Cummins, Venture Credit Union, MTS case, all of them case, Police Service Commission, Misbehavior in Public Office case with he, all of them thing go move fast. But if you have backlog and clog and delay, them thing does move slow. And while they move slow, he and Noel Garcia still spending all your money without procurement legislation. That's how it makes sense. Father Gordon, how you going, my brother? None of us in this country have all that we need, says Rowley. But you got to make the most with what you have. Really? Saying people would ask what the government was doing, especially in the face of complaints of not enough lawyers. Not enough lawyers, Rowley said. He remembered it had been said the DPP did not have enough space for lawyers. Oh, he didn't have enough space, so you put a space, an unprotected space, in the heart of criminal activity, with people whose job is so dangerous, they had to go to court and put criminal and killers and murderers and gang leaders behind bars and fire case. And you air outfit the building, but you come to talk about the building, so the man must just go and put people there. And when it rat-tat-tat with all the guns that you allow in to pass through the open, unmanned borders, what he go do? He go attend funeral because he looks like a gentleman who care about people, not like you. Anybody could dead, who dead, ain't? Well, let's go again, leave them there. DPP Gaspard's Lament, a column by Dr. Terence Farrell. Now, Dr. Terence Farrell, if you remember, when this one lied on Emailgate and squeaked in through EBC manipulation to be Prime Minister in September 2015, he made Dr. Terence Farrell the head of the Economic Development Board. A year and a half later, Dr. Terence Farrell resigned, throwing his hands up in the air, stating that all of his work and all of his recommendations fell on deaf ears. Well, it wasn't deaf ears, it's just dunce. And he resigned, and the entire board resigned and collapsed. And Rowley, you know what Rowley did? He saw that as an opportunity to put his friends, financiers, and his loved ones in a place. So he took Richard Young, small pin father, and put him in charge of some kind of board created and concocted by this idiot to go and meet with all investors and report Richard Young, daddy small pin, report to baby small pin, and report to honey goatweed softwood. Right? That's the system they put in place when Terence Farrell resigned. But Terence Farrell, it's good for you because you didn't say it like that. You didn't talk the truth. And when the election came up in 2020, you kind of play a kind of dotish card, right? Stick with this. Even though you knew better than everybody that this stick break in this one is, and even if you take out the stick, it have a space between them. But here Terence Farrell now. So DPP Roger Gaspard SC has decided sensibly, in my view, to discontinue. He is also has a law degree, very intelligent gentleman. In my view, to discontinue the proceedings against certain individuals in the Piarco Airport 3 corruption matter. We have known for a long time that the DPP's office is understaffed, not just in terms of numbers, but also in terms of the competencies required to prosecute complex cases. So addressing the problem requires not only higher compensation, but also training in the forensic accounting to follow the money and how complex matters should be handled from investigation through to the courtroom. It is not as if we haven't seen the problem looming. It is not as if we don't know what to do to address organizational problems like these. But it is the failure to take decisive action across a wide range of chronic societal issues. Let me read that again. Because he's speaking about Rowley's PNM, Rowley's cabinet, the government, those in charge. This is who he's speaking of. He said, Dr. Terence Farrell said, it is not as if we did not know what to do to address the organizational problems like these, but it is the failure to take decisive action across a wide range of chronic societal issues. WASA, TNTech, the Children's Authority, the criminal justice system, homeless persons on the streets of our cities, school violence, that prompts the frustration and gives weight to epithets such as Trinidad is not a real place, or we like it so. If we are a real place, and if indeed we do not like it so, why don't those who lead us address these problems frontally, decisively, and in a timely manner? The answer is that our policymakers are guided or influenced by other interests and incentives which cause resources to be misallocated and wasted and causes institutional inertia to prevail. Leave him there. This gentleman just agreed with every single thing Kamala Persad-Bissessar, the UNC, Anil, the douglAR, the Senate has been saying. Rowley's priorities are not the people's priorities. Rowley's priorities are to ensure that Noel Garcia, his man of business, spends every cent, and money could be going in anything to construct because Rowley wants to spend your money without procurement legislation. Rowley does not want you to have a fuel subsidy because Noel Garcia can't go in each of your car and fill the tank or take out peace. Understand that. Rowley does not want you to have laptops because Noel Garcia can't take all the laptops. It's going to you. Rowley does not want your children to have gate to the extent of Kamala Prasad Bisesa, 59,000 students. He thinks that's a waste of resources, so he drops it down to 28,000 students because Rowley cannot recuse himself and his ministers, and they cannot control the funding without procurement. That's what Rowley does. Rowley's priorities of your resources are for Rowley, his ministers, to recuse themselves, their financiers, and to do what he wants to do for himself. That means he is not a prime minister of the people. This is not Anil. This is Dr. Terence Farrell, who also said in 2020, vote for Rowley. You see the dichotomy? You see the paradox? You see the problem in Trinidad and Tobago? There's a lot of intellectual dishonesty. And that's why we're in problems. And then you come now and you slap a race card into the middle of everything. And you end up with the worst prime minister in the history of the Commonwealth. Vladimir Putin is reading a book about Rowley, how to destroy a country without missiles and bombs, because Rowley has decimated our country, Father Gordon. Prime Minister on UNC's human trafficking allegations. I don't know the man in the photo. Really, Rowley? You don't know Budet? You just take a photo? You don't know him? You could move the DPP from there, please. I'm going on here. And if you have that picture, you must have one or two or three with Rowley sitting comfortably in the house of the owner. Move Gaspard. You could leave Rowley. Or you could put up Rowley and Budet, Archie. Yes. Rowley says, I don't know this man. And all of y'all PNM go, oh yes. Let me tell you something about the PNM that you all may not know. No prime minister during election time goes in any house, in any constituency, other than a house of a major financier or a major bigwig in the party. Rowley is sitting in Budet's house. That's not Rowley's house. That's Budet's house. Rowley was the prime minister at the time. The prime minister had to approve. Rowley had to approve going there after the political meeting for eats and drinks and conversations. Way back in the day, Patrick Manning and them used to go Palms and Nilla, where Rohan down there. This is in the man's house. Rowley come and say he don't know this man. It is impossible for a prime minister, because when a prime minister also and special branch have to bring all in now. You see, all you under control.
Engaged somehow to receive the proceeds of human trafficking, and we're using it to build Balize House. I know the proof of that. The proof of that is that there's a picture of me with some man who I don't know, and they're saying the man is engaged with those activities.
House with your hand on the leg, the whole house king. Now you just come out and say you don't know that. Well, you see, Rowley, your sycophants will go, yeah, Rowley don't know them. The process does not work like that. And all members who know the PNM and how they operate, in order for a leader of the PNM and more importantly, a prime minister to reach in a man's house, the man had to be vetted, and special branch and general counsel. I don't know how all you vet a whole house owner and put Rowley there. Now, before this, Rowley may not have known the man. But Clarence Rambarat, was it Clarence Rambarat? Was it an MP? Who it was who put forward and proffered this man's house for a prime minister to come and sit down. And Rowley, it shows that either you're lazy, you're dotish, you're incompetent, you don't care, or you know the man and you utilize his services. One of those. But you end up there, sitting in the man's house, eating the man's food, drinking the man's scotch, and not kilkitting. You're holding the man's hand. You take a plenty picture. You're rubbing the man's leg. You're looking comfortable. The man is a whole house owner. You pretending that you don't know who and what and where and why. A prime minister and an attorney general cannot reach in a man's house who they don't know. All these mad people. All these mad people who only want to believe that nonsense. After a political meeting, especially in the PNM, the prime minister and all the ministers go to the house of a big financier to eat and drink. Not with you, no, all you down there, all you have to take a corn soup and go home in a maxi. That's not for all you. Ask Rohan. They used to go when they go down in a Mayaro day and they have big meeting, bam, 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 straight in Palm Sanilla, Lime, all the boys. That's how it goes. So Budit is one of those boys, big boy, to get a prime minister to come in the house, to sit down, eat and drink and relax for a couple hours after a political meeting. Rowley, a flipping lie. And now that you know who the man is, you ain't make no statement. You ain't say sorry. You ain't buff nobody. You just move on. But you're talking human trafficking. You're pretending you don't know that man supposed to be. That the owner, Copa Carana. How you get COVID so much? In Guyana, 1:08 a.m. before you left to go Bahamas, who's the lady was brought to your room at 1:08 a.m.? Answer the question, Rowley. How come you only getting COVID and Sharon ain't getting it? Who bringing the COVID for you because you didn't go out in mass? I was out in the mass, Juve Monday, whining on my girl. Me ain't get COVID. You was home. Who bring COVID for you? And play back that video, Archie. Well, let me hear what this man, this Rowley, who is sitting down hugging up a whole house owner, talk about Rodney Charles MP. A man of class, a man of distinction, an elder in the country who has served his country well, who served his family, his wife, and his children very well, who served his community with the utmost respect, character, decorum, and discipline. Let me hear what Rowley say about Rodney Charles.
And that little dirty mouth, flea-laden, lice-covered Rodney Charles. And that little dirty mouth, flea-laden, lice-covered Rodney Charles.
Dirty mouth. Rodney Charles speaks the Queen's English. Lice-covered. I have a bald head, Rowley. You have a bald head. Rodney Charles have a bald head. Bald head people cannot get lice. Flea-infested. I don't even know that Rodney Charles is so much of a dog lover. He may have a dog in the yard. Where these words come from? And first and foremost, to see the Minister of Education with the space between she leg, between she teeth. Here I'm talking about Rowley, yes? The space between she teeth skinning at Rowley's ridiculous comment. And she's the Minister of Education who just got up to say parents show responsibility. And showing responsibility, her prime minister, who made her deputy, and she being a deputy is so essential, that he's so potent, that this man stood there and berated and attacked another human being without any reason, rhyme or reason. You see, if we say, Rodney Charles, your head shining, all right. Anil, your bald head shining. Okay, your beard gray. Yeah, all right. But lice-ridden, how Rodney Charles have lice? He don't have lice. He can't have lice. He have no hair. And Rodney Charles says, why the lice comment? I will not step into the gutter with Dr. Keith Rowley, Naparima MP Rodney Charles said yesterday, as he responded to Prime Minister's attack on him. I prefer to do like Mia Motley and maintain the high ground of class, erudition, and enlightenment. Rowley said in a meeting describing Charles, that little dirty mouth, flea-laden, lice-covered MP, right? This piece of nothingness, this worthlessness gets up and says that we are engaged somehow to receive the proceeds of human trafficking. Furthermore, Rowley, no one ever said, you see what Rowley likes to do? He likes to concoct, manufacture a non-existent statement and then staple it to a problem that he has proving. A corrupt problem that he has and he cannot explain. He lets them, and the media allows him to do that nonsense. I was the first one to started talking about Balize House and showing Kusals, Junior Sammy, Earth Movers. I showed you all video after video of different contractors who get and benefit from contracts under the PNM, just dumping and dumping steel beam, concrete, and so on. I am the first one who said, where's the money coming from for that 120 million edifice? Because the PNM did not sell no raffle ticket. Rowley was by Price Mart with Fisher Hines and they probably sell 3 tickets in 4 hours. And no amount of raffle ticket could make $120 million. And we are calling on the media, the FIU, the police, the fraud squad to investigate the donations being given for air conditioning in that Balize house. How is that going up? Where's the money coming from? Remember Land 8? Land 8 was an press play on that. Up to the sky. Balize House, did they use some of Tranquility government land? How is it going up so high? Look at the square footage. Look how huge it is. Look at Balize House. Approximately $80 to $100 million worth of construction. Who is the contractor? I pass here frequently and I've seen different contractors daily just coming in. Is this the PNM Balize Land 8? Is it? What does the lease say? Can this old Balize house exist with the new structure, or does the lease say that there's only one building per plot of land? So everything crumble, but Balize house and the PNM rising. Well, you go ahead, vote race. And Keith Christopher Rowley cannot explain that. He cannot explain where the money is coming from for the PNM to build that $120 million structure. What account is the General Counsel of the PNM writing checks to suppliers for? Who are the hardware? Who are the contractor? Where they got the material from? Where they got the steel? How they pay the labor? Where's the tender process? How 6 different contractors come in every day? How many contractors billing it? Where the bills? Where the receipts? FIU, police, earlier Christopher. You see, you don't care. So Rowley cannot understand and cannot explain that, saying about donations. Really? Donations, 120 million donations for what? To do what? From whom? So he comes now to throw something, human trafficking, and mix up thing and throw in Balize house in the couture to try and see if he could escape asking. But the media, you all allow him to go. You all allow him to say he don't know this man when it's impossible. How a prime minister reach there, how he eat there, why they went there, how the AG there, how he so comfortable there in the man house. A prime minister can't just go in somebody's house just so. They don't do that. They don't operate so. The PNM don't operate so. So I ask you, also as we move on, Rowley, Rodney Charles have no lice because he bald. He don't really like dogs and don't play with dogs too much, so how he get flea ridden? And how he's a nothingness, and where that hatred and venom comes for with such a useless personal attack that's not even based on anything, Rowley, where that comes from? You know where it comes from, Rowley? Now I throw on my douglAR hat. African half and Indian half. People with live, long, straight hair that's get lice. Dead hair, weave and wig and thing, like what bundles and them have, that don't get live. That don't get lice. Because lice only go on live here. You see that? It don't go there. So the proliferation of those children in schools, when you used to go in school, when lice used to be an issue, would be East Indian children. White children to a lesser extent, but they are in the minority. Chinese children to a lesser extent, they're in the minority. But when you heard about when this one was in school and developing his social skills, growth and maturational stages, if there was any lice outbreak in a primary school or secondary school, it will be an Indian child because of the type of hair that they have. Now you see where he was going? You see how nasty and evil this human being is? Because you all can't tell me that Rodney Charles, a ballhead like me, lice don't enter the picture. We can't have, because we have no hair. It's non-existent. So it had to be a concoction of an evil racist mind by suggesting that Rodney Charles, thank you Archie, Rodney Charles is associated with Indian, East Indian with straight hair. That is the breeding ground back in the days for lice. And therefore the lice jump off the Indian head onto Rodney Charles' bald head. That's what this nasty whistleblower, who some of you all call Prime Minister, was saying. Do you see how divisive and evil and nasty? That is why this man don't mind his own children. He is sick. And I mean that in a serious way. Not no joke thing. It's a sick individual. This Rowley has attacked every institution. And in a few days, he's going to plant his flag of Balizé juice on top of President's house. As his recruit, Kangaloo, is going to be President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Not on merit, because if you show Israel Khan or any other person resume, they surpass her. So like Ms. Ramdeen said, there's no merit in the country. This woman does not deserve to be president. She doesn't have the resume to be president. Her life achievement does not even come close to any of the previous presidents, Ellis Clark, even George Maxwell Richards, Carmona, and the greatest Muslim president of them all. And his wife is still alive. She does not fit that bill. But she's going to be president because this clown who attacks every independent office, so he's attacked President's house. He made an attack with Paula May, who we thought was independent, but she really had Balizé juice all in she veins. With the Police Service Commission and the thwarting of the merit list, with the misbehavior in public office, which should be investigated right now and charges should be laid, but the DPP office is understaffed to advise on the way forward for many cases. He attacked Carmona when he wanted to move Carmona because Carmona was independent. Remember, he put that next one with space between Shiti 2, paid by Colmin, but on some job concocted and created by Colm to pay she money over $1.6 million over the last 8 years to go and attack Carmona about some wine and label when a president don't take them decisions. Remember that? To create couture so he could move in and put a bishop's tea party. Now he ain't bother with bishops and pretending. He going with a card carrier now. The Police Service Commission, he forced that independent body to collapse because he invaded it with Balizé juice with Bliss C. Prasad, who was also on a PNM board. The Commissioner of Police, he now controls and has controlled and selected, got rid of who he didn't like because they ain't following what he say. Central Bank Governor fired, got the same Christine Kangaloo when acting to fire Jawala Rambaran and put his neighbor in Tobago, Alvin Hilaire, Inez Gate. Integrity Commission, he attacked. Now he put in a president to appoint the Integrity Commission when he should be investigated by the Integrity Commission on 3 or 4 separate charges. Special branch, he attacked when there's a special branch report on his minister in his cabinet who he's sharing bundles with. The police service, he attacked the police service, he attacked the media, even though the media love he, keep he, and support he. The 1 or 2 times that they print the truth, he does attack all you. He attacked the judiciary, he attacked the US government when he was trying to make moves and bring Delcy here with PDVSA officials as Asdrubal Chavez. The regional corporations, even his own Indigo Martin, he attacked because he wants to push his agenda to take more of your money, to put by he-boys for more recusals without procurement legislation and legalize thieving. And now he attacks the DPP. He attacked the board of the Port Authority. Remember saying that they didn't get a vessel? He lied. They had 11 vessels, of which 4 are the same as the APT James and built by Incat and so on. Same thing. He just lie and tell all they find nothing. And Allison due diligence Lewis, Miss Nikwan, she says she stay quiet and they leave she day so that he could go with small pin young and procure 2 ferries and 2 cutlass vessels for $1.5 billion with no procurement legislation, no board, no tender committee, no invitation, no evaluation committee, nothing. And this man has called people thief. And every all-purpose state company, he has waged war against all of them. The sport company used to be there to build stadiums, sport grounds, and so on. He take everything from the sport company and give Noel Garcia. Ministry of Community Development used to go, so he give it to UDCOT, Health UDCOT, everything Noel Garcia, Noel Garcia, Noel Garcia, Noel Garcia, Rowley, Noel Garcia, big bag. That man calling, this one calling people thief. Well, boy, he says also, a bold-faced revision of history, says Keith Christopher Rowley. I say, what? Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has accused opposition leader Kamala Prasad Bisesa of bold-faced revision of history with respect to the email gate matter. Thursday night in Barataria, in front of a crowd aging between 70 and 92, and only about 84 people, a Prime Minister got up and had an hour and 15-minute rant and rave, attacking everybody, providing no solutions, no hope, no way forward for Trinidad and Tobago. But Rowley said he did not know where the opposition leader got the notion, he said motion, but it's supposed to be notion, he's so stupid, that she was exonerated by Google. Quoting from the report of the Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, Joan Honoré Paul, woman, when Rowley quote you better hope he stay in office for you to get something, because that mean you ain't worth nothing when Rowley quote you. Quoting from that person, Rowley said, Google first indicated that information regarding the email accounts in question could not be provided to the police in investigations in the absence of legal process. It is noteworthy that notwithstanding the apparent form and structure of the emails themselves, their content when matched against evidence of the prevailing circumstances in TNT was sufficient to reach the standard of probable cause. Hear that nonsense. Joan Honoré Paul, with all due respect, I will need you to explain to me. I don't know you, don't know your political affiliation. If you're an attorney, you would have to have a modicum of intelligence. I need you to explain to me how you wrote this, why you wrote this, and how you came to this conclusion, because it seems illogical. You state, it is noteworthy that notwithstanding the apparent form and structure of the emails, no ma'am, you cannot notwithstanding the apparent form and structure. The apparent form and structure meant that 29 out of 31 of the things he brought were not emails. And if they're not emails, they don't exist. So you cannot write an opinion that notwithstanding the evidence before you that shows that the things did not exist, that we move along even though they didn't exist, to say that whatever was written on the pieces of paper kind of resemble things that happen. That doesn't sound like a legal position. That doesn't sound like an evidence-based opinion. That doesn't sound like a justifiable position of an attorney or a deputy director of public prosecutions. In fact, it sounds like Rowley. Please explain to me. I don't know, you know. Please explain to me how the form and structure, notwithstanding the form and structure of the emails themselves. I mean, notwithstanding their form and structure meant that they were not emails. Let me prove to you, because I already went through this clown answered. I entered the debate back in May 20th, 2013, and if my little daughter tell you, I am the worst, I am a technological idiot, me and know them thing. I wish I didn't have to send an email. I wish I didn't have to do and type and send what I like, pen and paper. Look how I do in my show, pen and paper. All of them senators and thing, all of them, they laugh at me because I is a pen and paper man. But even I, with my daughter's self, technologically, back on May 20th, 2013, listening to this lying idiot, I and all could know that thing's so stupid, it's so dotish, it's so ludicrous, it's so nonsensical, so asinine, it's so disgraceful that I entered the debate one time. So Miss Joan Honorary Paul, I need you to explain to me, because I'm telling you, 29 of the 31 things that he read out are not emails. Therefore, they cannot go anywhere. You can type it, it goes nowhere. It doesn't go into the cloud, it doesn't go into the breeze, it doesn't go into the rain, it doesn't go into the tree, it ain't going to nowhere. It ain't going to the space between bundles' teeth, it ain't go nowhere. Honorable Anil Roberts jumps in. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Here it is. They put Anan, A-N-A-N, at Gmail. And then they put a colon. And then they have another one, Anand, A-N-A-N-D, at TSTT. So you send in an email to one person at two addresses. You want to make sure they get it. Also, when you see, if you know emails, you would see the normal structure of an email. And these appear not to be the norm. The characters do not exist. Are you telling me in 6 months, the honorable leader of the opposition and the entire PNM team could not get some expert to go through and check the veracity and come here with a sworn affidavit of some expert to say that these things make sense? Now remember, this man had these pieces of paper in his hand. In Barataria, he come to tell all you, I had these things and I took it to the president to investigate. The who? The president could investigate what? The president has no ability, capability, resources, qualification, authority, or position to investigate anything. Why you didn't take it to the police, Rowley? Why you didn't say last night in Barataria or Thursday night, and I took it to the police? Or did you take it to the police and the police laugh at you? See, this is very important. Why would a primary, he in government, he in politics since he lost his first election in 1976 in Tobago. He in the Senate since 1986, December. And he don't know if you have evidence of a crime, take it by the police, take it to the DPP. How you take it? Who has ever taken anything for investigation to a president? The president could hardly sip tea and eat scones. But this fool is telling you, and you're going, yay, he took it to the president. Why? 6 months. Then he gone by Ken Gordon, the integrity commissioner, the chairman of the integrity commission. Why? In Newbury Hill. Ken Gordon, did you tell him, boy, Rowley, what's stupid the way going with this nonsense? But he still brought it and wasted the country's time. And up to now, this not only pathological liar, but this liar with stick-to-itiveness. He don't let go of a lie. He hold on to that lie like bundle skirt. He not letting go till it come down. You understand this, man? So now, Anil continued. This is 10 years ago. So I read out one of them. They said, one of the things concocted, call the Sunday Guardian editor and threaten her with ads if you have to. just make sure the article doesn't come out. This fool reading out that, saying that one of the government ministers called an editor of The Guardian, who is the guardian of Rowley K-Pax, to tell them, hey, if you print that flipping article, we ain't gonna give you no ads. So the Honorable Attorney General is instructing an advisor to call a Sunday Guardian editor to tell them, don't print a story, or else we read that in the Guardian. That would have been the story, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that have been the story? That a minister or security advisor of the People's Partnership Kamala government called to threaten an editor? You would have heard the recording. It would have been playing on I-95, the PNM 22 station. It would have been playing on 91.9, Iowa. It would have been all over, not so? And this did not strike the leader of the opposition as maybe questionable. The Guardian, who he is friendly with, would let a member of the People's Partnership call the editor and say, listen to me, take out our story or else, no ads, no money. And that did not make it to the front page of the Guardian. I find that a bit strange, said Roberts. I find that very curious. Well, we're moving along, and I've only looked through this, Mr. Speaker, not 6 months, 6 minutes, like Dougie Fresh, 6 minutes. I did not have 6 months to go through this. And the leader of the opposition comes in this house. I thought it is such an honor to be in this house. But today is a sad day. When we look through here, I read an email, and the leader of the opposition said, read it out. I will not deal with some of the language. When I check some of the language and so on, I can tell you, I telling them, in 3 years, at that time I was in government 3 years, I have never heard the Honorable Attorney General, Anand Ramlogan, refer to the Prime Minister, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, as my lady. Whether in cabinet, in parliament, in relaxation, in political meetings, I have never heard that. But the email have Anand Ramlogan saying, my lady, my lady. Kamala is not a judge, she's Prime Minister. He referred to her as Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, or leader. And I never called Kamala Prasad Bisesa milady. Continued. Rowley said, there's an email here that the leader of the opposition alluded to involving the U.S. Embassy. Hear this fool. And he read it out, and he said that they spoke to Thomas, and he said Thomas Smitham. And I hope I am pronouncing it correctly. Smitham, the charge d'affaires of the embassy. There's one big problem, Mr. Speaker. The date of the so-called email in September 19th, Mr. Thomas Smitham did not arrive in Trinidad and Tobago until November 2012. The man read out the email. Smitham never even land in Piaco. He never gets stamped by immigration until 2 months after the purported email this fool read out in the Hansard and still defending his lying crap. Thomas Smitham, Hansard, leader of the opposition, 6 months, September 19th email about Thomas, say Thomas Smitham. Thomas Smitham was not in the country. Check, says Anil Roberts, Minister of Sport. Call National Security, call Immigration, call the embassy, check it out. But did you all do that? The next day after this fool brought these things, did you all print? Rowley flops, lies, disgrace, Rowley desecrates Parliament. Did you all print that? No. You all let the fool bray. And then he became Prime Minister. And now the country is sunk. And Prime Minister, because somebody collected a bunch of paper with a bunch of stories on it, and we are actually listening to the opposition debate this. This was just about an hour and a half after he talked, But 6 months, he say he had them thing, and he bring that in the Parliament. And up to now, the media is still allowing this fool to talk about these lies. But let me also just indicate, and I will leave this, and for the media, please, before we embarrass the country on words that were said in this August House, I would love the media to investigate. Get a copy of this. Check it out. Don't take 6 months like the leader of the opposition and bring back. This is in the Parliament. I'm beseeching the media to check and research and show this man to be the liar that he is. And they did not, because the mass media is PNM back then and PNM now. See if it makes sense to you. See if the English adds up. See if the addresses add up. See if that is the form and fashion of what takes place. See if Mr. Smitham was here or not here. You all do your investigation because before you spoil and damage the reputation of our beloved country. That is why I'm a little sad. I'm a little sad today because you see me, I love politics. I love it. You understand? I want to make sure that them, the PNM, never come back. But I would not go to any and all costs, Mr. Speaker. I will not make up things. I will not come in this house and discuss things that are not factual. So let us get on to a little bit of facts and I go on. In the PNM success, it is ensured when you do not perform well, you stay there long. 10 years ago, you know. Hear what I said 10 years ago. In the PNM, success is ensured when you do not perform well, you stay there long. The PNM never believe in merit. This is 10 years ago, Monday, 20th May, 2013. But you come here and does, I'll give them a little vernacular, not present an iota of evidence to show other than some fabricated pieces of paper that anybody could see. I don't know where that come from. But yet media and the country, y'all allowed this. This is 2013. He went into an election with 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 of y'all believing this absolute feces that this man slung in the parliament. Continuing. Mr. Speaker, this Monday, May 20th, 2013, the DPP, oh my goodness, DPP, look, we see in Rowley attacking the DPP right now on Thursday gone. Mr. Speaker, the DPP, this motion talks about our government, the Prime Minister's interference with the DPP. This government has not interfered with the DPP. This Honorable Prime Minister, meaning Kamala, member for Superior, did not veto any DPP appointment, did not determine or try to figure out who should go and who should not go. There has been no interference whatsoever in the DPP by Kamala Prasad Bisesa. What they have is this fabrication, this fantasy, this Star Trek 4 stating that somebody says they go in and tap. When we say tap, Mr. Speaker, we mean water. Bring some government juice. Give me a tap of water. Give me a glass of water from the tap. We do not even use that terminology. But here it is. All of a sudden, the leader of the opposition, because he's talking about Watergate, start to talk about tap. We are going to tap the DPP. I mean, in Parliament, let us be serious. Somebody says, we are going to tap the DPP. No, that is what he's talking about. Talking about Watergate and Nixon and this government is going to tap the DPP. When we hear about tap, is when you have a head like mine and it's sweet to give you a carpet. You get a tap in school, but he is talking about this tap. But the DPP, the people who live here and know the facts will know that the PNM vetoed DPP appointments. The PNM prime ministers used to use their veto powers to determine who will get into that office. We live here. I thought we will get some facts like this. And now you see this man in an all-out attack on the DPP while promoting and reading the nonsense of somebody below the DPP. The PNM games continue. Anil Roberts, Minister of Sport, continued in the debate brought about the pieces of paper brought by this fool. He come here with a set of email that he had 6 months and could not come here and say, listen, I got this 6 months ago. I went to the FBI. I called in the US and asked them for experts. I got my financiers, my rich boys who getting plenty rent from the government. Andrew Gabriel, how are you going tonight? I know you're watching Andrew Gabriel. How are you going? I ain't talking about you, but I just like to tell you, hello, you know, your bed looking good, Andrew Gabriel. Government to pay a company. But wait now, I was a real, you see, now, I reading this and I forget I say this, you know. He didn't come here and say, I got my financiers, my rich boys who getting plenty rent from the government to pay a company to analyze these and get through the back of it. And here I present a report that these emails are totally 100% accurate. In 6 months, nothing from the leader of the opposition. Mr. Speaker, now we move on to the media. The media, I nearly choke. because I was all right. I was a little media practitioner, you know, on radio and TV and newspapers. I was, you know, I wasn't too bad. Stephen KD say, you thought you was good. Stephen, you're going to calm down yourself now. Honorable Roberts again, I thought I was good, but you know, no big thing. But when I read this motion that the leader of the opposition was accusing the People's Partnership and the Prime Minister of attacking the media, I must say, I choke on my chana with plenty pepper. I really choke. I had to swallow down with a red solo. Roberts continued, I mean, he is the best orator, talking about Patrick Manning. He is the best, no sorry, talking about Coleman Butt. Coleman Butt wasn't the big motion of no confidence. And Coleman Butt, the member for Dago Martin Northeast, absented himself. And I saying, but I mean, you come in with a no confidence motion in a primary, and you go want your best debater. Coleman is your best debater. So I say, I mean, he's the best orator the PNM have. He's the best debater on the PNM side. I would think that when there is a motion of no confidence of such a critical nature, you don't leave your Lionel Messi on the bench. You come to debate to remove a prime minister and a government and make yourself prime minister, and you leave your big player, you leave your Russell Latapi on the bench. I don't understand that one. I cannot understand that. And when the leader of the opposition is wrapping up, I hope he lets me know where Dago Martin Northeast is. Why is he not here? And why he did not think this motion of no confidence was worth staying here, delaying a trip, unless, of course, it is a health issue. But you could clear up that. So Coleman Butt, I ask you, why did you absent yourself from the email nonsense, fabricated nonsense that this clown brought to the parliament? Is it true, Coleman Butt, that you did not want to be part of that pack of lies that you told Keith Rowley at that time in May 2013 that it was nonsense and that was too far, and you would not sit in parliament as he desecrated it with lies? Because you, Coleman Butt, are very technologically savvy. Back then with your BlackBerry, you was the first one. You like them thing, that what you like. And you knew it was nonsense. So Coleman Bear, I ask you, is it true that you absented yourself from the nastiness and desecration of Parliament you knew that this clown was coming to do on May 20th, 2013? Coleman Bear. You see, they bring a motion, they bring a serious motion, and they give no evidence that the motion is even deserving of being tabled in this Parliament. It is a waste of time. But you come and talk about some email, some fantasy document that in 6 minutes I could see if somebody brought this for me on Patrick Manning and the member for San Fernando East or Dago Martin West, when I on radio and so on, I would put this right, just walk out, turn right for about 10 paces and 4 paces. So because of that, where the water closet is, sir, that is where I would have put this nonsense, because I would have seen it as being totally malicious, fabricated, and not based on fact. Because when you're on the radio, you get lots of information. They had this thing email, this document going on about called a heart for years. As soon as I read it, I got it 14 times. But it was fraught with emotion and jargon that showed that it was not factual. I discarded that and didn't use it, because no matter how incompetent they are, no matter how I detest a father who would not mind his children, no matter how much I detest a man who will use his power as a teacher to get pum-pum from a girl of school age, no matter how I detest a clown who has no problem fornicating with his colleagues' wives, I would not lie on this clown. Furthermore, in 6 months, even if I wanted to, because I was emotionally, I wanted to get at them, in 6 months, I would have done something. I would have tried my best to verify the veracity, to make sure these things, if were possible, that it could be correct. But the leader of the opposition, he has all the resources, all these intelligence people around him, and he did nothing. He come here with this and embarrass himself, embarrass his party, embarrass Dr. Williams, embarrass the legacy of the PNM. That is 20th March. That was my immediate response to them, to Rowley's lies. He's still trying to defend that nonsense. And next show on Wednesday, I'll deal with any ball Kamla, you lie. I have a judgment here in the Piako matter that was thrown out at Privy Council, which shows that the PNM has been the worst, most malicious persecutors of the opposition from since time immemorial, documented in judgments on the Hansard. So Kamla lie. You are the liar, the email gate liar. You lie to your wife, you lie to your children, you lie to a child who you're taught in school to tell her that you were a man of class, you were a man who could be trusted. So you asked her for pum-pum and you took it from a girl of school age, impregnated her and left her all alone to mind your child. Just like the twins, just like others. You're a miscreant, Keith Christopher Rowley. And just to wrap up, Mr. Keith Rowley, you want to call Rodney Charles names? He's our lie said, fleeting, but nothingness. Let me tell you what you are, Keith Christopher Rowley. You are a mama pool. A mama pool is a man who has no class, no qualms, and would use his power position without any form of character to disrespect his colleagues and their wives and take them and hit on them and use them. That's a mama pool. A mama pool is a liar who cannot use his brain to argue or to win or to take care of people, but he just concocts and lies. Keith Rowley, you are a mama pool. You are also a caca hole because you feel that you are good and you are great. You're the biggest dunce. The entire population, African, Indian, mix up, douglAR, Hindu, Catholic, Christian, Orisha, Baptist, Rastafari waiting for you, your caca hole. Rowley, you is a soft man. Only a soft man would lie on the wood. Because when you went down in South with Rohan and you wind up and hug up the girl so long, you come and lie and say she just back and you take a eh. A eh is not a hand and chip. A eh is not a hug and talk. A eh is just a eh. And that's what you talk. You is a big old soft honey goat weed utilizing can't stand up old man, and you whining on a 17-year-old and say once it reach I go take it. When you have a track record of being a teacher and having sex with a girl of school age, you's not a you's a soft man. Only a soft man would take a man, wife, a colleague, a minister, a sport wife down in Carnage and take her, utilize her and mash up her family. That you soft man. You're a thirsty man. Oh, how much in the cabinet you last? How much had I last you to get work? When they're walking by you, you're taking them to Bago and sharing your conkles and your chips. You flipping thirsty man. You are a sicko. When people see you in party, you walk around with a screw in your hand and put it in a girl hand and say, yes, you're sicko. When you're doing an interview on TV as a prime minister, tracking a man, wife who is a media person and telling her we should have drinks and non-alcoholic, not drinks, you look like a stupid idiot. Rowley, Tim Gopi Singh, I tell you, sorry. Rowley, you're a francoman pathological liar. Rowley, you're cranny. You want all the money. You want to control all the people money. The resources is not for the people. Let me tell you, you don't know what's going on. I on the ground and black people who vote for you and thought that banana was bad, them cussing you, they want to see the back of you, the licking you going to get. I pray the Lord keep you healthy until the next election when you get the worst cocktail in the history from people who have realized Trinidad and Tobago don't need no race talk. We are all one, all beautiful people here to move forward without you, Keith Rowley. Rowley, you are a honor man without conscience. You know what that means? You're a honor man without conscience. You will care. All men, all are we? We're like lovely ladies and so on. We have a weakness. We're not as strong as women. So all of we may go astray. But normal men would do their utmost because they try their best not to hurt and disrespect their wife because they really love their wife. They're just looking for a little extracurricular. Not no loving, not no in love, not no thing. But they do their best. They sneak around, they go, they quiet so that the wife wouldn't find out because they don't want to hurt their wife. Not you. You in the middle of San Fernando whining down. You whining up and down. You in press conference. You in front of the media. You embarrassing your wife wherever you go for the last 50 years. You are a honor man without conscience. You big ballhead fool. Of course, you're an Oreo who can't play golf. And finally, Rowley, you're clearly suffering from Taranji Banji. That horn have you kill kitty. That rant and rave on Thursday, you are suffering from dementia. You're suffering from long COVID and Taranji Banji, in the words of the great late Sprangalang. Archie, good night.
And then, yesterday, we celebrated International Women's Day. At the PNM, we have a political leader who supports and who propels women. Our women in the PNM, we do not protect filthy men who...